You get to live in a game for so much longer than a book or a movie or a play. You know how you have real-life time versus story time? How stories leave out the boring bits and condense so much? A long-form RPG has some substance to it, leaves time to wander the desert or have a conversation or hang out in a pub. It might not be the closest thing to real life, but pacing-wise, it's closer than a movie or a TV show or a novel. The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This is a love letter to mundanity, to quiet moments, waiting at the edge of a dock for a boat to another land, watching the countryside roll under you from the back of a griffin, dancing with a stranger, running home through a flash rainstorm, just existing in a space, watching the sun set over distant islands in a fictional world. The simple pleasure of feeling part of something, somewhere false as a dream, real as a story, yours as a memory. An excerpt from my Azeroth poetry book. Buy one for the nerd in your life. Is everybody cozy? Grab a chair, get some tea. We're gonna talk about World of Warcraft. Every form of media has a dominant verb. We listen to music, we watch movies, we read books, we play games. I think this verb, play, is at the root of how we criticize mechanics in our games. And as my relationship with games, with play, has evolved, I've felt increasingly disconnected with that verb. Do I always play games? When I stand still to cook 30 curiously tasty omelets in a row, when I sit down to drink a flask of melon juice so I can restore my mana to keep questing, is that playing? Is it playing when I wait for a boat bound for the Eastern Kingdoms? Sometimes my hands aren't even on the keyboard. Sometimes I'm not even looking at the screen. Sometimes I get up and start doing dishes and I forget about the game entirely. And then I remember and I come back and the boat is already gone. And so I go and start wiping off the counters. Is that playing? Is that playing the game? There have been attempts to formalize a definition for play in humans, and interestingly in non-humans, since at least the 1930s. According to Homo Ludens, one of the first treatises, it's really hot. Jacket number 1, gotta go. According to Homo Ludens, one of the first treatises on play, one of the most significant human and cultural aspects of play is that it is fun. I would not say that waiting for a boat is fun. Does it deliver me to the fun? When do I get to the fun? People have criticized waiting in games before.
The source of a lot of Ocarina's problems is that the game's idea of difficulty is waiting. There is so much goddamn waiting in Ocarina.
It would seem intuitively that waiting is the opposite of playing. Playing is active. You're acting, you're doing. But certainly our games before video games had aspects of waiting. Hide and seek requires a seeker to stand still and count. It requires the hiders to be patient and quiet. Freeze tag requires the frozen to stand still and wait. Even before RPGs, waiting was a first-party mechanic. This is in some circumstances incidental, a necessary evil brought about by the way human brains perceive time. We have to wait for our opponents to take a turn in chess. We have to wait for player matchmaking to match us with compatible players across the big wide internet. But when I cook my 30 delicious, curiously tasty omelets, when I cast my Hearthstone to take me home, when I fly from place to place, there's not a real-world reason for that to take time. Cooking, casting, traveling can all be instantaneous if so the developers decided. And some developers have decided. Think fast travel in Skyrim. The waiting is an invention by the designers, an inconvenience unnecessarily imposed. Inconvenience. I'm gonna say a word, and if you are an RPG fan of any kind, you will have opinions about it. Ready? Grinding. What did your face just do? What did your heart just feel? Did your hands clench? Did your eyes roll? Did your thoughts collect and cringe in a reflexive ugh? Grinding is how players describe repetitive actions in a game, taken not for the fun of performing the actions themselves, but because the action, however rote, must be done, either to directly progress the game, or to grind out enough gold or levels to directly progress the game. Grinding is waiting with your hands on the keyboard. To call a game grindy is an accusation, and grindy is the association that lingers in many people's minds when they hear the name World of Warcraft.
That's why we need to just log in and stay in the forest, killing boars. Boars?
Do you know how many we would have to kill to get up 30 levels?
Yes. 65,340,285.
I could say, haha, Cartman, you silly child, that's not how leveling works in World of Warcraft. But let's be honest, that often feels like how leveling works. If you're not killing boars in Elwyn Forest, then you're killing boars in the Red Ridge Mountains, or Razorfen Crawl, or the Eastern Plaguelands, or Dun Moreau, or Teldrassil. But you see, those are Thistleboar, and they are yellow. When you get to higher levels, you'll graduate to killing Hellboar in the Blasted Lands, or in Hellfire Peninsula. And there are also Dire Boars, but they are purely hypothetical. And if you're not killing boars, rest assured, there will be plenty of harpies and turtles and raptors and centaurs and panthers and tigers and leopards and night sabers and cheetahs and lions and lynxes, endlessly pacing the lands, an unending parade of targets to sate your bloodlust. Thank goodness you're here. What would Azeroth do without you? And if you're not killing things out of pure love of the sport, you're killing things because an NPC asked you to bring them 50 bear pelts, or the basilisks are eating some important crystal, or we need monkey giblets. I don't know, just go kill a lot of things. Everything must die forever. Grinding, 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 grinding. One of the most notorious quest lines in World of Warcraft Classic is the Shredder Operating Manual quest. You have to find 12 unique pages that have a random drop chance in one zone of the world, and in all likelihood, you will end up with 8 copies of the exact same page before finding the one last page that you need. It's ridiculous. And then there's the Green Hills of Stranglethorn quest, which is the same thing, only more. Kill stuff, kill stuff, kill stuff, kill stuff, pages, pages, pages. Fun? 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 When you're grinding in a game, you're definitely playing, but are you? The game is demanding your engagement on some level, and you are making choices. Kind of. Really, with grinding, the accusation is that the game is generating lazy play. It's not being the right kind of engaging. It's not demanding skill or ingenuity. It's not presenting interesting challenges or decisions. It's routine. It's mindless. It's boring. It's not fun. And I like it. I kind of like grinding. Whoops. More logs. More logs for the fire. Yes. Good. Why? Why do I like this? What about this is there to like? I brace myself for accusations from my friends and roommates that I play games wrong. It's something I've heard before. Hell, it's something I've thought before about other people. I had a roommate in college who used to play GTA 5 endlessly. Sometimes I wouldn't be able to sleep, and so I'd go out into the living room, and there he would be at 3 a.m, spawning a Corvette onto a blimp and trying to get in it and drive it off before it slid off the side, careening airplanes into public parks, jumping motorcycles off of ramps, never doing what the game explicitly asked him to do, but always finding endless other ways to spend his time. And to me, it just looked like he was playing the game wrong. But he was doing exactly what he wanted to be doing, and what's more right than that? I can at least point to what he's doing and say, fun. Driving car off of blimp? Fun. Fun. Is that why I verb games? Grinding is routine. It's mindless. It's methodical. It's trance-like. It's meditative. It's soothing. I had a friend compare it to knitting or watching reruns of a show you really like. You know all the motions. You can anticipate what's going to happen next. You can't predict everything that's going to happen, and there are small amounts of surprise and suspense and pleasure. But overall, it's assured and predictable and safe. There are few decisions to make and the stakes are low. For me, grinding can even provide a mental frame to lean on while doing things I really don't want to do, like checking my emails or renewing a driver's license. It's the same reason a nurse might squeeze your arm before administering a shot. It's a little distraction from the bad or the boring thing. It's the same reason I turn to idle games or Hearthstone Battlegrounds, games with largely automated gameplay and long wait timers while I'm doing things like, I don't know, sitting on hold with my insurance company for the 3rd time this week. Can someone fix insurance? Please, someone? And sometimes I just want something low stakes and predictable and repetitive after a stressful creative day, or a successful creative day, or a difficult conversation, or after making a tough choice or debugging some code that stumped me for hours. Sometimes I specifically crave something that will demand of me and challenge me. And sometimes I specifically crave something that won't. Sometimes my favorite moments in a game are when I'm not doing anything at all. It's good. It probably wouldn't surprise you to learn that I also quite like the other much maligned, mundane mechanic that World of Warcraft is known for. Travel in World of Warcraft is slow. At many levels, you have to go on foot almost everywhere. You can hop on a hippogriff or a bat to fly from city to city, which takes real time. But first, you also have to discover those places before you can fly there. More than that, you have to physically take your body and speak to every flight master individually to unlock their flight path. And the flight master is never situated at the entrance to a city. No, they're always like here or there or here. And to find them, you just need to open your map and, oh, just kidding. No, you don't. Your map is blank. The 2 primary continents together are like 80 square miles. And your map of every single zone starts looking out like this. It looks like a coffee stain with mountains. It is a beautiful beige nothing as far as the eye can see. This can feel weird in a world of game maps like this. Why am I pointing over here? It's gonna be over there. Game maps like this, or like that. The only thing you know about a place before you get there is the name. Sometimes. World of Warcraft gives you nothing. The game really says,
you want it? Go get it.
In my video on Breath of the Wild, I mentioned that Zelda world maps were some of my favorite game maps, but not my all-time favorite. That honor goes to late 2000s World of Warcraft, Burning Crusade specifically. All the things that I loved about the Breath of the Wild world map, this map is what made me fall in love with them. For the most part, as a newbie in WoW Classic, your exploration will be done by going in the most interesting direction or noticing a signpost and wondering, what's so interesting that they bothered to put it on a signpost? I guess I'll go check it out. Or you'll be flying between population centers and you'll cross over a zone that you didn't even know was there. Seriously, the first time you fly between the human starting city of Stormwind and the dwarf starting city of Ironforge, you're flying through this idyllic high fantasy forest, and then suddenly the sky turns blood red and you see the burning steppes for the first time, and you're like, what the hell is happening here? And all the enemies you can click on just show this big angry skull where their level should be, and you're just a level 7 warrior. You don't know what's going on. And then just as quickly as it came, it's gone. And you're back in the snowy foothills of the dwarven starting area with nary a dragon in sight. But the best part is that you know that when you're stronger, you're gonna come back here on foot. And when you walk into a new area, the map paints in like this. And the sound is just pure thrills of nostalgia running fingernails along my skin. Oh my god, do you feel that? And it's hand-drawn. It's not procedural, and it's fucking gorgeous. You build this map with your time. The first time a quest giver tells you to go to Dolinar, you have no idea where that is. More wood. More. You'll often read quest text that says things like, go down this road to where it forks by the river and then follow it past the fields to the old abandoned mine shaft, and that's where the ogre cave is.
Next one's far south down the road. It shouldn't be too hard to find, just off to the side, near a fence. I think I hid it in some bushes.
And you'll probably get lost and you'll have no idea where you're going. And you know what happens when you do that? You navigate the world like a human navigating the world. Maybe when you come across a signpost on a trail, maybe you'll stop to read it. Or, God forbid, ask a more experienced player for directions. Where is Mancrick's wife? I feel like I'm on a journey through a world specifically because the world takes up space. Or rather, because a journey through the world takes up time. And really, what is a journey if not a conversion between space and time? This is a different type of mundanity than grinding, and it fulfills a very different need in me. It fulfills a desire for veracity, and sometimes for me that means waiting for a boat, because this world is big, and that's just what it takes to make it feel like it. I guess I'm a role player. Who knew? The definitions of play I find myself most relating to don't use the word engage, rather they use to participate in, or to take part in, or to be involved in, to participate in imaginative pretense, to take part in intrinsically motivated activities for the sake of recreation. I like that. That's what I feel like I'm doing. I'm taking part in something. I'm participating, I guess, in my own subdued way. It's a different way to engage. And engage I did. I have a memory of questing in Stranglethorn Vale one night when I was home alone and the digital sun started to set, and I remember thinking, I bet this would be so pretty if I could see it from the islands. So I swam out to sea and just existed for a bit. And yeah, I'll admit it, I was kind of high. But it brought back such sweet memories of playing as a kid, back when everything, in-game or otherwise, was a source of magic. Back when I would, I'm gonna admit this to my parents, back when I used to get up at 4 in the morning so I could play World of Warcraft without judgment. That's a thing I did. I would find a spot on a hilltop or a beach or on a boat where I could watch the sunrise in the game. And then I would go outside, breath fogging in the porch light by my poetry book, and I would watch the sunrise in real life. I don't like that line, it's like too stupid to read. I wonder why I feel like I could never explain to my parents why I would watch the sunrise in a video game, but I would never struggle to explain to them why I would watch the sun rise over the mountains in real life. I used to go and swim out to sea just to see how far it was possible to go. I used to run through zones that were way too high level for me just to see where they went. I used to go on foot through the Deep Run tram tunnel just to see what the developers put back there. The answer is the Loch Ness Monster, by the way. Nessie's back there. I used to jump off the Darnassus waterfall just to see what would happen when I hit the bottom. The answer is you die. You die a lot. You have to die like 3 times. And then you end up in the sea, and you have to swim all the way back to shore. And it's so worth it. Okay, here I go. Whee! Oh my god. Oh my god, dude! What the heck? Why is it like this? Oh my god, there's the ground, okay. Touchdown.
Wow, that's so crazy.
Oh, I forgot how long that was. Why is that in the game? Oh god, I'm all the way out here. Now I gotta swim all the way back.
Why?
None of this gets me anything, but what do I go to games to get in the first place? Sometimes it just feels nice to make simple progress toward a simple goal while listening to the hustle and bustle of an imaginary city. Sometimes it feels good to do these things in the company of people you don't know, all going on their own little journeys for their own reasons. Maybe we'll wave at each other. Maybe we won't. That's a third axis of mundanity in World of Warcraft, the random, casual interactions with other players that you'll probably never see again. It's not fun, it's something else that's equally valuable to me. I remember one time I was standing in a camp full of friendly Horde NPCs that Alliance players needed to kill for a quest, and this night elf runs in and he starts killing all the NPCs, and so I jump on a table and I start dancing. And after he finished his rampage, he hopped up right next to me on the table and he started dancing with me. I don't know why. I don't think he knew why. It was just this random thing that happened, and I will remember it forever. One day I was running through this zone that was way too high level for me, and I was getting absolutely cleaned out by a dragon that was chasing me. And then a high level night elf, something about night elves, I don't know, ran by and saved my ass. Horde and Alliance don't speak the same language, so we just waved at each other and cheered, and I jumped up and down as a formal token of my gratitude. And then we left. And I have no idea who that person was, and I will never see them again, in all likelihood. I have raided and quested and fought my way through countless dungeons, and yet these are the moments that are going to stick with me, for whatever reason. Remember that Shredder operating manual quest that I mentioned earlier? Well, I do not remember what it felt like to finish the quest, but you know what I do remember? Having an extra copy of page 4 and giving it to someone who needed it. Because World of Warcraft was a long and tedious, weird, difficult, grinding as hell adventure, and part of the point was to help each other through it. I think this is why every so often I get a hankering to relive World of Warcraft, but not Skyrim. I know that the other people were a huge part of why the world of Azeroth meant so much to me, even if we said literally nothing to each other. Sometimes, especially when we said literally nothing to each other. While writing this section, I remembered that I literally have a 70-minute video on the joy of nonverbal communication in games, so go watch that if you want to understand the full depth of my love. Woohoo! This video is a total relic. It is pure 15-year-old nostalgia speaking through a 27-year-old woman. And I couldn't go back even if I wanted to. And I tried. I mean, I played WoW Classic, and, you know, it didn't totally recapture what may have been a purely 2000s experience. Kind of a sad thought. Even as nostalgia for all those special moments bloomed in my memory, it was really hard to get footage of people waving back at me in WoW Classic. Why won't this guy dance with me? We're not even doing anything right now. Come on, just dance with me. Come on. Maybe he's AFK. No, he's here. Okay, bye, I guess. Was it my server? I don't know. From listening to Final Fantasy XIV players talking, it sounds like I might want to migrate over there if what I'm looking for is player-based friendliness. But I'm hesitant to pick up a new MMO. It's hard to imagine that another digital world could mean as much to me as Azeroth does, because, like, I put in a lot of time to know it. It's hard to know if I would have the patience for grinding and overly long travel times in a game released today. It may be the nostalgia that buoys the experience. It's hard to say because many of these elements I've described have been weaned out of subsequent releases of World of Warcraft. It's probably a little bit of both, nostalgia and familiarity and meditative actions all combining to wrap me up in a cozy blanket. As it stands, in Classic, I like that once I get the flight path to an area, I don't just blink out of existence and wind up there like in Skyrim. My roommate just told me that there's actually a mod to add in wait time to the Skyrim carriages. My people. I like that I am held hostage and I have to watch my character fly across the world in real time, and it might take half an hour, and I can check my quests or talk to my guildmates or, stand up and do the dishes for a bit. I like that it forces me to chill out a little bit and appreciate the late 2000s low polygonal scenery. It makes the world feel so frustratingly, bitterly, annoyingly real. It's enough to sometimes make me feel like I'm super wrong for actually enjoying this design. But also, I think I'm not totally alone. I'm, of course, not saying that you have to enjoy what I enjoy or enjoy games in the same way that I do. If you're playing a game that is asking you to spend your time in a way that doesn't make you happy, it's good to recognize that so that you can take the steps to achieve a healthier balance. But if you find you enjoy some things that other people consider a waste of time, or that you might have trouble explaining to them or sometimes even to yourself, if they bring you happiness or clarity or a moment of quiet, I hereby give you permission to like what you like. Even though game design has seemingly moved in a different direction over the years, I'm interested in getting back to exploring the strangely immersive power of mundanity. Because when a game removes the mundanity, I won't seek it out. But when a game makes mundanity a requirement, I'll give myself permission to enjoy the quiet. Traveling, questing, cooking at a campfire, existing in a space, small conversations with my guild members, exploring someplace new, watching the sunset, trying to kill something that's way too hard for me, failing repeatedly, getting some surprise help from a heroic stranger, conquering the challenge together, remembering why you loved something so much. Being a kid again. Yeah, I think this is an okay way to play. Thanks so much for watching. I want to remind everyone that at this time, workers at Activision, Blizzard, King, and Raven QA are still fighting to end unfair, discriminatory labor practices and get rid of the executive board that's been holding them back. They've asked that supporters contribute to their strike fund if they can. You can find a link to that in the description of this video. Thank you, as always, to my patrons, and special thanks to Robin and Sammy. If you want to support my work, check me out at patreon.com/samkern. Links in the description. I will see you all next time.
Right?
Is it recording still?
Yeah.
Oh, funny. We could probably stop it
Okay.
for now. Oops!